So, how great would that be? So I want to begin at the beginning. I want to tell you a little bit about my story. So I started as a part-time solopreneur. I was doing virtual assistance on the side. I was working for a shared office facility, a little tiny, teeny tiny shared office facility. And I worked there for 7 years, offered him quite a bit of money to buy the business. He refused. I was devastated, but that turns out to be a theme in my life. Devastation often opens the door for the very right thing. He wouldn't sell me a business, so I took a 6-month course and wrote a business plan. I had to raise money because a shared office facility is bricks and mortar. It wasn't a consulting business. I had to raise money. So I wrote a business plan. I raised $100,000 and I opened my business. And that was 23 years ago yesterday. So I opened that business, and there I sat at the front desk of this business, and may I say, I did everything, because no one can possibly do it better than I can. So I answered the phones, I did the business development, I did the bookkeeping for the company, I did it for the clients. And the truth is, although I had that business plan that I wrote, which really was a cornerstone for my success, and I highly recommend everyone have a written business plan, it wasn't enough. I began to realize that without the help of other people, I was never going to get where I wanted to go. So I really had to create a new plan. Carrie talked about this in the last session. She talked about visualizing. So I spent a lot of time, I'm a journaler, so I spent a lot of time journaling what this C3 thing would look like. My goal, as you saw from the first slide, was to build an organization that runs without me. So I wanted to be able to have work-life integration. I don't really believe there is such a thing as work-life balance. I think it's about integrating the two, and it's a seesaw, and it's constantly moving. When I opened my business, my children were young. I needed flexibility. I did get that. But, after a while, I just realized that I wanted something more. So I began to build an organization that would run without me. And in order to do that, I had to get clear on a few things. Okay, so this is not a political statement, but it does involve Obama. The first time Obama ran for president, he knew that if he didn't win Iowa, he was dead in the water. So every decision they made, they said, will this help us to win Iowa? So someone comes to them and says, we can cure cancer. We say, great, but will it help us to win Iowa? So I want to encourage all of you, as you begin this process of collaborating to grow your company, to get clear on what your Iowa is. Kelly alluded to the fact that C3 stands for Connect, Collaborate, Community. I believe that if I can teach business owners to connect, and if I can teach them to fuel the power of collaboration, they grow, we grow, and that growth spills into our communities. So you see, we don't just offer office space, back office support, and education. We're really on a mission to change the world one business at a time. That's my vision. That's where I want to take this company. And if you haven't seen it, and anyone who's ever heard me speak, I've probably referred to this every time I've spoken. If you haven't seen the 18-minute video by Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, How Great Leaders Inspire Action, do yourself a favor and watch that. He talks about the fact that people do business with why you do what you do more so than what you do. So get really clear on who you are, because that's how you're going to identify a niche market. I was just in the other room, and someone was talking to me, and I said to him, who's your target market? He said, well, anyone. And I said, well, what's your sweet spot? Is there a sweet spot? He said, well, really, anyone can use my services. And that's true, but you can't afford to market to everyone. So get clear on who is going to be the best target market for you. Get clear on your values. What became really clear to us is the clearer we got on our values, the more we put that out into the world, guess what? That's exactly the people who walked in. And it's pretty powerful when you start working with employees, with vendors, with prospects, with clients, with partners who all share your values. Those are very, very powerful partnerships. So start by getting clear on your why and your values. And that's, you can kind of think of that as mission, vision, values. Then the second thing is, so that you do know your sweet spot, you need to identify what your target market is, and you can do that in a few different ways. I'm a big data person. You know, you hear lots and lots about big data. The truth is, if you have a small business, you still should be developing data. So identify your top clients. What do they have in common? Where do they come from? What are their values? Analyze them, do surveys, maybe have someone else do surveys for you. Where did they come from? The reality is, if you're looking to do strategic partnerships, it's going to start with a shared target market and a well-defined shared target market. So develop some data so that you can determine your sweet spot. Demographics are kind of, I call them the cold hard facts, the who, what, where, when, why. The psychographics, I think, actually drive more purchase decisions, but they're more about hopes, dreams, fears, and pain. And then, is there an event that drives the need for your product or service? If you can find the overlap of those three areas, you've definitely developed a sweet spot where you're going to have a much higher close ratio with your clients, which means you've got your finger on the pulse, which means you've got a great foundation for building strategic partnerships. Once you've got that clear, start developing some messaging that connects and converts. Again, build some data around your competition. What are your differentiating factors? You know, sometimes people will say they're customer focused. Well, everyone should be customer focused. If you weren't, you wouldn't be in business. If you never miss a deadline, that might be compelling. So make a list of what the benefits of someone working with you are. Identify 3 competitors. See what they're saying on their website. What are you saying that they're not saying? There's your compelling messaging. And it's about pain points. Does everybody understand the concept of pain in the sales process? I don't have my glasses on, so nod vigorously. Thank you. The truth is, you have to identify the pain because people will do much more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So figure out what is the problem that you're solving. Okay. So that was all groundwork to creating strategic partnerships. But here's the thing. Strategic partnerships are people that share the same target market and they have a compatible offering. And what each partner gets out of it is they have expanded reach and truly exponential growth. And I wanted to actually look up the definition of exponential, and it's becoming more and more rapid. So think about momentum. That's what you're going for here. You're going for this marketing machine that is just growing itself and fueling itself. You know, I have to say that when I first rebranded the company, I thought to myself, well, why couldn't there be like a mini C3 in every Staples? But then again, why not? I mean, who would have thought some of these collaborations would have happened? But I always say that when big corporate is doing something, we have to really pay attention to what they're doing because, frankly, they have a lot more dollars to invest in research than we do. So, I mean, think Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins. That's awesome. So this concept of strategic partnerships is tried and true. You know, it's not a me thing. It's something that's really going to help you grow your business. So how do you do it? Get clear. Make sure you're going to work with somebody who has your values. Begin with a process of driving referrals. Whenever I talk to business owners, I ask, how many people get most of their business from referrals? That was a question. That was not rhetorical. How many of you get most of your business from referrals? Okay. So how many people have a documented plan to drive referrals? Okay, great, because the truth is you can fuel referrals. You can create more referrals, and that is where I think you should start, because that's the practice for these strategic partnerships. Be a go-giver. Give to get. Just get out there and give to the world, because I firmly believe there's an energy in giving. The more you give, the more you get. Think win-win-win. Strategic partnerships cannot be about what's in it for the two of us. In my opinion, it has to win for me, it has to win for the other company, but most importantly, it has to win for that target audience. What's the target audience getting out of it that they didn't get before? So think in terms of win-win-win. Be a thought leader. I think that's something we all need to do as we grow our businesses. With content marketing the way it is now, the market's a little bit flooded out there, so you might have to get creative about how to be a thought leader. And at the end of the day, it's really about leadership. So how are you going to lead yourself, your company, and the people around you to attract the things that you're looking for? And I think some people get a little nervous about leadership, but the truth is it's an acquired skill. I mean, just like speaking on stage is an acquired skill. I honestly tell you, the first time I spoke in front of 100 people, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. Now I'm fine with it. So everything, really, almost everything is an acquired skill. And I was watching a podcast the other morning, or I was listening to a podcast the other morning, and they said, a leader is not in charge. A leader takes care of those in your charge. And I think that comes back to the concept of being a giver. So seek to be a thought leader. Create a written plan. You'll hear me say this again and again. If it's in your head, it's an idea. If it's on paper, it's a plan. So what we do is I will document so if I'm thinking about doing a strategic partnership, or if I need partners for something, what do I need them to be? What do I need them to do? What do I need to be? What do I need to do? All documented. How does this work for the target market? So write it out. When we first started our Sparta location, it's a different model. It's not staffed. So what I have in Sparta is I have ambassadors. I have brand ambassadors. And I said, okay, what would make a great brand ambassador? They need to be connectors. They need to share my values. They need to be networkers, because I need them to help me spread the word. This was when I first rebranded. That's what I need from them. I also need them to commit to 1 day a week of being in the facility to greet people and talk about the business, because I couldn't be there 5 days a week. In return, what could I do for them? I could share my stage, I could consult with them, I could help them to grow their businesses, and it became a win-win. So it was just an idea that we thought up, we wrote it out, and it worked. So I have, since I've rebranded the company, this is how we are exponentially growing the company, and this is how I will work from a beach. Here's another thing that we do. We've become a small business go-to resource. So we have a lot of great people that we know, and I'm sure you do too. So we have a program called Office Hours, where we have different subject matter experts, not unlike what's going on in the other room at the table experts. So once a week or twice a month, people are available to provide expert advice to their target market, my target market. We all market it together, so we have expanded reach. I have people coming through my facility, which was very important when I first rebranded. And what's in it for the target market? They're getting great advice. The Earn More program is a 7-month program that I teach, where we go through the curriculum required and the tools, the accountability, the expertise people need to really change the direction of their business and get better results. I have multiple contributors to that program. So again, they're sharing their expertise to the benefit of the target market, and they're sharing the reach. This is my favorite. Liberty Office Suites is a quote-unquote competitor in Morris County. What's always made us unique as a shared office facility is not only do we offer on-demand office space, but we do all types of back office support, whether it's marketing, admin, events, bookkeeping, and education. So we now take what's made us unique and successful and wrap it around other shared facilities who don't offer that. So we went from 2 to 4 locations in one strategic partnership. And each year I do an event called Small Business Week. This is where I monetized those strategic partnerships. I created sponsorship levels for this event. And how I did that was I documented our reach, and we have some pretty extensive reach. We've got a very active Facebook page. We've got a 6,500 person mailing list. So I documented our reach. I talked about who we are, what we stand for, what our reach is, who our target market is, and would you like to be in front of our target market? And lo and behold, it worked, and we monetized our reach. So I really believe that this is the way that you can exponentially grow your business. These are some of the tools we use, but truly, my goal is to help companies not only be successful, but grow businesses that are sustainable. That means you can do something wild and crazy, like take a vacation. For me, this is me reinventing myself for the next 20 years. I love what I do. I have no intention of retiring, but I do want to do it from anywhere, and that is the path that I've been on. At this point in my career, I don't work in August. I take several vacations a year, and I blog from a beach on a regular basis. So that is a very brief version of collaboration as a growth strategy.